That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
All right, guys, just like the video we had yesterday, we are going to be featuring some other members of the flock on this one. This is going to be from Johnny and Garrett. They are a part of Fantasy News and Brews. They have their own fantasy basketball channel that I am a massive fan of, but they agreed to let me feature their channel on the Fantasy Flock Network for the time being. So their videos should be popping up here on a regular basis. I think we discussed twice a week. I'm very excited about it. Y'all are probably going to tell from the video that they know more than I do. They have a more professional setup than I do. So this is massive for anybody wanting some quality fantasy basketball content. But before we get into the video, I need to say two things. One, thank you all so much for getting us so close to 2,000 subscribers. By tomorrow, we should hit that number, which is absolutely crazy, considering this channel has not been going for a month so far. And also, I'm going to need y'all to go down to that comment section, and I need y'all to leave suggestions on how you think Garrett and Johnny can improve for the video next time. And yeah, thank y'all so much. I really hope y'all enjoy the video. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments.
What's up, guys? This is Fantasy News and Brews. I am one of the hosts, Garrett Thompson.
And I am the other, Johnny Thayer.
Welcome to the podcast. Today we want to talk about two things. Last week we talked about some waiver wires, and, a lot has changed and a lot keeps going in the NBA, so I think it's important to kind of keep that going. Just some good waiver wire pickups for the week. I think that's our first segment that we're going to focus on, and our second one is going to be some buy low, sell highs. We both picked a couple each. We're just going to go over some of the guys we like. Maybe we agree, maybe we don't, and we'll go from there. So let's start with the waiver wire pickups.
All right, and most of these guys were on our last podcast, but surprisingly, the percentage of leagues these guys are in or owned has not changed. So
some even went down. Some went up, some went down.
So we're going to hammer this in and continue with them. So the first one I've got, again, Darius Bazley. Averaging 30-plus minutes a game. He had a monster game last night, and he's 19% owned, and went down for some reason.
It's crazy.
From last week, so he's going to be number 3, if not the number 2 offensive player on this OKC team. So,
do you think it'll be him or Lou Dort as the number 2? Because Lou Dort has had some pretty good games thrown in there.
He has. I can't see Lou Dort sustaining his level of production. He is a 3-and-D kind of guy. He's not going to continue shooting, lights out like he has been. And the good thing about Bazley, he is small forward eligible, and that is not a deep position in the league.
It's not.
So pick him up if he's on your waiver.
19%.
And he will be. What about you, Garrett? Who's your first target?
First guy I'll go with, and the three that I'm going to give are not in any particular order, so, kind of focus on what position you need when it comes to these, but these are just some guys I'd like to have on my bench. Denny Avdia is one. He's a rookie starter who's 21% owned. He can stuff the stat sheet. Russell Westbrook, they've been giving him some resting time. He's only getting better. He hasn't had a breakout game yet, but he's a rookie, for God's sakes. He's not playing like a rookie. He is one of the more NBA ready players coming in. A lot of people thought that. A lot of people were kind of shocked he fell so low to the Wizards, and he's kind of proven it. He's playing some good minutes. He's out there, and especially when Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal are kind of on the bench or whatever, he's taken over a couple times, and he's only going to get better, and I really like him. I think he's a good pickup, but be conscious. He's not going to come in right away. He's going to have to develop into his own skin before you can kind of really use him, but I do think it's coming. I think he's one of the rookies that will kind of get there.
Be patient with this guy. And the game Russell Westbrook rested against Orlando, Denny played 36 minutes. That's insane. Not the most high usage guy when Bradley Beal or Westbrook are on the court, but if he's going to play those kind of minutes and he's going to be 21% owned, in ESPN standard leagues, then definitely worth a pickup.
I mean, he's getting points, he's getting rebounds. The lowest minutes he's played this game is he's played a 13-minute game and a 14-minute game. Everything else has been over or around 25 minutes. So he's out there, even when Bradley Beal and Westbrook are in. His field goal percentage is great. I just don't see a reason why not to gamble with him. I think that's a good way to say it, is he's a good gamble.
And again, small forward eligible. I'm going to keep hammering small forward and shooting guard. Very
Two
thin
important things.
positions.
All right, give me one more, Ears.
All right, here's one more. Wendell Carter Jr. His ownership went up from last week, but he's still only 37%. If you're going to give me a starting center, a young starting center on one of the best player development coaches in the league, then yeah, I want him on my team.
It's a no-brainer.
He has been averaging almost a double-double. He will fill the stat sheet, get you a few assists. The blocks haven't been there, but he's definitely got that caliber player. So he's a very consistent guy. I think he's worth a pickup for sure.
Definitely. I mean, I drafted him in our league. I wanted him, I was kind of shocked at how low owned he is. I mean, he's had some pretty good games so far.
I'm surprised he's not 80+% owned right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. Anything else to add about him? Want to move on to the next one?
Let's move on.
All right, I will give one. I'm biased. I'm a Pistons fan. I'm a Michigan State. I'm Michigan everything. Lions, you name it. But I've been pretty impressed with Josh Jackson. When we signed him for a 2-year deal for relatively cheap, I was a little not excited. It seemed like a fill the roster type of signing. But, right now he's 30% owned in leagues, and he's playing well. Like, he's playing very good for what I thought he would be. I mean, a lot of people thought he was going to be washed up. I kind of was one of them. He hasn't played great. He's had some off-the-court issues with his attitude and maturity, I guess. Were some questions there. But, man, I mean, he's played... He's played 6 games, and he's only had under 25 minutes in 2 of them. And in every single game except for one, he's had over 10 points. They're kind of leaning on him. He's shooting well. His field goal percentage is well. He can rebound. He's gotten a steal in every single game. He's gotten numerous assists in most games. I think there's only one game he didn't have at least 2. He's got over 10 points in every game but one. I like him. I think he's a good pickup, and Detroit has a lot of players like Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose who they're going to sit a lot. They might be injured. They might just be resting, but they're a shallow team, and this is another small forward eligible player. I mean, he's not a bad pickup on your bench.
Yeah, look to him to lead this offense. He's a very aggressive player, still young, a lot of potential. He's been pleasantly surprising this year, and worth his pickup at 30% owned.
I definitely agree, and it's nice to always bring up a Piston. Not a lot of hope there.
Of love for the Pistons, but
no, but I think he's a good pickup.
All right, I got another one for you.
Okay.
I kind of hammered on this last week, but Chris Boucher, 32% owned, ESPN Standard Leagues. Now, the minutes are going to be all over the place. This is a risky pickup, but he is a great points per minute guy, one of the best. And you saw him last night. He played 29 minutes, 24 points, a block, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. But you'll have games where he plays, 5 minutes. It just depends on the matchup. If they want to play more small ball, they're going to throw him in. If they want to go up against guys like, Rudy Gobert or Joel Embiid, maybe they'll extend Alex Len. So you just kind of need to play the matchup and go with your gut there. But whenever this guy's on the court, he will be very productive for you.
Maybe. This might be one that we disagree with. I mean, he put up a 28-minute, 22-point game. Everyone who was paying attention was getting pretty excited about this guy. And then next game he comes out with a 4-minute, 0-point game. So, he's definitely turned it around since then. But it's kind of scary. You don't know what you're going to get. He's, in types of leagues where it's a weekly play and they take the average, he could be a little scary to put out there.
And that's the thing, though, with fantasy, you've got to be all over that news. Mm-hmm. And if you follow us on Twitter, we will post things like if a beat writer or coach, anything, Fantasy Labs, they post something about oh, we're going to extend Alex Len instead of Chris Boucher this game, which is what they'd said prior to that 5 minute 0-point game.
Yeah.
Then you just got to be a little proactive, and that's one benefit of following news Twitter page like
following
us.
our Twitter. Yeah. One thing I will say is he's a great DFS option a lot of weeks.
Absolutely.
He's never too expensive, and he could explode for you and kind of win you your week or your day.
He'll win you some GPPs if you're into DraftKings.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, I got one more. This one, it's not one that I'm extremely confident in, but if I needed some depth, I think Joe Harris is a good pickup. He's on the Brooklyn Nets. They have KD, they have Kyrie. There's a lot of shoes to fill, but KD and Kyrie, Steve Nash kind of mentioned he's gonna rest them on back-to-backs. They're gonna be sitting a lot, and that's when Joe Harris comes in with a 41-minute game, a 32-minute game. He gets the minutes, especially when they're not out there. So, if you're in a league where you just pick one game and KD or Kyrie are sitting, he's a pretty good option to throw out there. He's definitely a little dependent on his points. He'll get you some rebounds, maybe a couple assists, but you really, really are focusing on his points. And he can score. He's not a bad option for scoring. So on days where Kyrie or KD are out, I would not mind throwing Joe Harris into my lineup.
Yeah, kind of the same situation as Denny. They're gonna rest. They're gonna rest their stars, so they're gonna look to guys like Joe Harris or Karis LeVert to really step up. And Joe Harris, 36% owned. It's gonna be available in most leagues. Man, if you got the bench for it, I would do it.
I would do it. Yeah. I mean, if you need someone just to throw in for a game, he's a great option, especially if KD's out. He could put up a star-like performance easy.
Yeah, look ahead to those back-to-back games.
Yeah, seriously. Sure. Okay, I mean, I think that's pretty good for the waiver wire. I think we each gave some good options. Some repeats, but I mean, I think we just got to keep hammering them until people pick them up. There's no reason Wendell Carter isn't in every league.
Exactly.
It's crazy to me. Okay, so let's move into buy low, sell high.
Buy low, sell high. All right, these are the guys. So buy lows, kind of you want to target guys who are struggling. Maybe their fantasy owners are getting a little frustrated. They want to kind of ship them off for a decent deal. And then you got your sell highs. Maybe guys who are overperforming, and we don't think they're going to continue that level of production. Like Lou Dort, for example. Much rather have more consistency like Darius Baisley.
Yep.
But
I'll start us off. So I'm going to go with Terry Rozier. I like him. Don't get me wrong. I do like him. He's performed pretty great. I mean, his first game coming out, he had a 42-point performance. Last game against Philly, he had a 35-point performance. But let's look in between there, 19, 18, 6. He's a good player, and that's what he is. But you know what? When I'm on Twitter looking around, I'm seeing article after article about Terry Rozier, becoming a superstar, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure, if you're in a league with a bunch of people who are looking on Twitter and keeping up with the news, they've been seeing his name go around. I think he's a good player to kind of try to flip and get maybe a more consistent, better player. Just some names that come to mind are like a Capella or an Andre Drummond. I mean, depending on your positional need, but I mean, Terry Rozier, he's turnover prone. I mean, a lot of guards will get turnovers per game, but he is turnover prone. He throws in some blocks and some steals. He throws in some assists. He's a good play. But I really think right now, especially with all the media hype on him, I think you can flip him for a better, more consistent play.
I think so. I think Drummond, like you said, is a good example. He's been struggling a bit, so he's a decent buy low candidate right now.
I mean, Drummond's going to get you over 10 rebounds per game. He'll get you at least 10 points per game. There's going to be some games, especially if Kevin Love sits, where he's going to have to be out there the whole freaking game. So I would flip Terry Rozier for Andre Drummond. I don't know about you.
Yeah, there's just been some slight concern with his minutes recently. He gets into foul trouble often as well, and that can hurt. But man, if he's playing the minutes, he can definitely crush every night.
Yeah,
I think there's more in store for him this year.
I do too, and he's on a player option contract year, so he's gonna have to get it together if he wants to play a little bit better. So
we'll go back into music.
Yeah, so He's not one of my buy lows. We'll throw him in the buy low.
Semi
buy low.
Sure.
I think so. Like I would flip Terry Rozier for Andre Drummond.
Mm-hmm.
All right, give me one of your sell highs.
My sell high. All right, we've got CJ McCollum. Now, believe me, love CJ, love the Blazers.
We're located in Portland, by the way.
Yes.
So
Portland, Oregon.
this one hurts.
But he's been lights out. He's been absolutely insane, overshadowing Dame right now. But I don't think he's going to keep it up. I don't think that Dame is going to continue to struggle. He's going to get together. CJ is going to take a dip very soon. I think you should offload him sooner rather than later. And, for example, some guys I would consider trading for, maybe the likes of SGA. He's kind of been struggling a little bit. It just depends on your positional needs. Like, you need a guard. If you're flipping CJ, you probably want another guard.
Well, let me ask you: if you're flipping CJ, say you have a plethora of guards, you need a center. Would you flip him for Andre Drummond?
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
I would put him in the category similar to Terry Rozier, maybe a little higher.
Definitely a little higher.
So Andre Drummond, I think, is a solid option.
Like a Capella, Gobert type.
Gobert, yeah, I think Drummond, Gobert, possibly Capella. I'm hesitant on those Atlanta centers. You got Capella and Collins kind of fighting over rebounds.
Hey, Capella's been pretty solid though.
He has.
He's not been bad.
He has. That's why Collins is one of my busts from season.
Okay, well, I think I agree with you. CJ, I love CJ. I am a Pistons fan at heart, but the Blazers have become my second team, and he's been killing it. And I agree. I think, Damian Lillard is going to step it up, and CJ is probably going to take a little bit of a hit.
It's only a matter of time.
Yep.
All right, let's get into some buy lows.
Yep. You want to start?
Absolutely. All right. Buy low. My main buy low candidate, Kelly Oubre. Dude has been awful from behind the arc.
I read a statistic, I think it was like a couple days ago. He was shooting 4% from the 3-point range.
It's not good. He was like, 1 of 11, 1 of 14.
I mean, it can't get worse.
Right? It can't go. I mean, maybe 0 of 11. I don't know. But yeah, no, not looking great for him. But I sense a turnaround soon. He's a talented player. He'll get you the boards. He'll get you the steals. He just, he's on a new team. He's playing.
He's trying to fill the shoes of Klay Thompson. That's not an easy thing to do.
Very hard. Once he gets more comfortable, I think he'll have a decent season. He'll turn it around. So,
I mean, the minutes are there. The minutes are there. It's just the points are even somewhat starting to turn around. They're trending upwards. Field goal percentage is trending upwards. So I think he's a good buy low.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Who are some guys that you would give for Kelly Oubre? Just off the top.
Oh, off the top of my head, let's see. Maybe Beasley.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a stretch. Maybe guys like Karis LeVert. Yeah, it depends.
What about like a Rozier McCollum? Because I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't stretch that far.
I wouldn't either. But he is really, I feel like he's a good, if you have a guy on your team that you're not super comfortable with, that you think is, I mean, even an Andre Drummond type, I don't want to say it, I don't think I could give up an Andre Drummond for Kelly Oubre, but.
No, Kelly Oubre is more of like, give your 9th or 10th round pick to a frustrated fantasy owner who
one person
Oubre.
I might trade Blake Griffin for Kelly Oubre.
I don't mind that. Blake Griffin deals with injuries all the time.
He does, and I mean he's such a good player. Don't get me wrong, but for fantasy, you really want that consistency. Blake, they're definitely trying to run it younger, and they're trying to run it. I mean, Killian Hayes is their starter. He hasn't been playing great. They're still putting him out there, giving Josh Jackson, Dylan Wright all these minutes. They've made it clear that they're going younger, and Blake Griffin is, I don't want to say getting phased out, but that's kind of the reality of the situation. So I personally, and it's crazy saying this because I am a huge Blake Griffin fan, I would trade Blake Griffin for Kelly Oubre.
I would trust the upside on Kelly Oubre a little more than Blake Griffin.
I think that's our first really hot take.
I agree with that. Quite a hot take. But sometimes you got to take those risks.
You do. All right, I'm going to buy low on Lonzo Ball. I actually was pretty big on Lonzo Ball coming in. I drafted him pretty early in our league. The minutes are there, he is getting the minutes. He's consistent, he'll get you 15 points per game. He's going to get you the assists, He's had a couple bad games this season. He against Phoenix, he only played 23 minutes, 7 points. Some owners might look at that, be frustrated. It didn't translate well because he had some turnovers too. He had a turnover problem his first couple games. But I mean, his shooting percentage it's not where it needs to be right now. But it is trending upwards.
It's improving.
It is. And
for sure.
And he's one of the better defensive players. And that's going to keep him on the court, He's also a distributor, so he'll get you the assists. He'll get some points thrown in. He's shooting threes at a higher percentage this season than last season, I believe.
He looks a lot more confident with his shot.
He does, and he's young. People forget that this is a young point guard. I mean, he's 23 years old.
They want to get this guy involved in their offense.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely do. And at 23 years old, it's hard to, really expect a lot. I mean, let's look at some rookies this year. Peyton Pritchard on the Celtics. He's 22 years old, just drafted as a rookie.
Yeah.
And Lonzo Ball is 1 year older than him, and he's really just coming into himself. I mean, I would like to get Lonzo Ball on my team. And
there's so much potential here.
oh, yeah, I would give up...
Who would you want to...
Again, let's go Blake Griffin. I would give up Blake
yeah.
Griffin for Lonzo Ball. I don't know. I mean, it's tough. I would give up Terry Rozier.
CJ McCollum.
That one I don't know about.
Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, I would do Gordon Hayward. I don't know that I would do McCollum though. I think that I think that I could get more with McCollum.
Yeah.
But I do like. I mean, if someone traded CJ McCollum for Lonzo Ball, I wouldn't be surprised. I would be like, okay.
I wouldn't think that's a bad trade.
No, I wouldn't think anyone's getting the shaft of that, but I do think that I do like Lonzo. I think he's going to improve. He's got Zion now. He's got some better pieces.
Yeah. He's a threat. He's a triple-double threat too. Like 2 out of the last 5 games. He's had 16, 8, and 9, 16, 8, and 5, and that game I just listed off against San Antonio, he had 5 steals. So.
Yeah. I mean, they want him out there to play defense, and when he gets hot like that, he's going to kill it.
Loads of potential. I like it. And guys, if you have any questions about trade, who you want, or trade transactions or whatever, hit us up on Twitter. We're very active.
DM us. I mean, we will answer your DMs. I mean, we're active on there. We're there every day. We're posting DFS advice every day. We're posting really news every day of what's going on, current events. So yeah, feel free to follow us on Twitter, and we'll hook you up.
Yeah, our goal is to help you guys get better. We benefit from your winnings.
Yep.
If you do well in the league, we like that.
And Johnny here's our mastermind with the DFS, and he's been killing it lately. So if you're into that, definitely follow the account, because Johnny knows a lot about that.
I usually post my favorite core plays, favorite GPP plays about 30 minutes prior to lock. So, follow me if you're into DFS. Mainly DraftKings. I don't do much with FanDuel. But if you do have questions, I'll definitely take a look for you.
Sweet. Well, hey, anything else to say?
Just appreciate all the listeners out there if there are any. And we look forward to seeing you guys again next week.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.